let's talk a little bit more about the wins. And Dale, we'll start with you. 96 and 99, like we've already mentioned. Were one of those more special than the other? Were they different for you?
Yes, I'll say they were different in the way that 1996 was a year that we started the second team and car at Robert Yates Racing as Ernie Irvin came back to be full time. And so Todd Parrott was brought in as my crew chief. Todd had never been a crew chief. In the Cup Series. He'd been around it all his life, just like having his brother Brad there, and then his dad, of course, Buddy was around the sport for gosh, seemed like 100 years. And we go win the Daytona 5. We won the Busch Clash in '96. Then we turn around and win the Daytona 500 the next week. And so Todd and I, had some success. We go on and win some other races. We actually won the Coke 600. So we were pretty full of ourselves that we were battling for a championship, and we seemed to be able to win some pretty big races. And we had a great test, and we were at Michigan before Indy, and our car was not good there. And we literally were up at midnight trying to figure out how to make Michigan work. And we were looking at notes from our Indy test. And that's kind of where we came up with the idea that we were going to do something different. It wasn't if we won Indy that these two hockey guys were like when we win Indy. And so we, went there with a fast race car. I messed up qualifying completely. And we were able to rebound from that. And, I had to race my teammate, Ernie Irvin. And, Jamie can attest to this. When you're racing a teammate who has basically the same equipment, or if you're just in an alliance with a team and you know that they have everything that you have, or maybe a little bit more, it makes it more difficult. So as the laps were winding down, I was pressuring Ernie all that I could, and finally he overdrove getting into turn one just a little bit, and I was able to take advantage and get that. And the victory celebration was unlike any other. I mean, Jamie and I are fortunate to be a part of a club that I think there's only three of us that won the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same season. And to think of all the racing and everything that it takes to win your sport's two biggest events in the same year is just incredible. And we had a great celebration. Todd and I talked about what we might do if we won. It was a back and forth and something that nobody else knew anything about. And I'll be honest, with the victory lane that we had then, you drove up on it still, but it raised up and it actually rotated around. And it was just an incredible feeling. And I was enjoying that so much, I kind of forgot our plan. And then Todd, as it was reminded me as we were kind of doing the hat dance in that victory lane, that we had some unfinished business. So we had told no one, Robert Yates, Doug Yates, no one knew what our plan was. And so we had them to lower it down where we could go out to the start finish line. And we got there. Nobody had any idea. We just knew, that we wanted to do something special at the one thing that was left there from the original track, and that was the yard of bricks. And so we kind of made our little plan together, and we told everybody to turn their hat backwards, get on their knees. We didn't have anything to bend down on, put our knees on. We didn't care. It was very impromptu, and it was so funny as I look back now. The photographers and everyone was scrambling to try to figure out what the hell we were doing and where we were going and what might take place for this. And so we got everybody there and got on our knees to put our hats backwards and kiss the bricks. And no idea that a tradition was going to be started from that day from two guys that were just a little bit too full of themselves, probably. But, we were able to back up some of that.
Where did it come from, though? You said you mentioned the plan. Like, how did you come up
Yeah.
with kissing the bricks?
So the plan started that very night in Michigan. Todd actually brought it up. He said, "Look, when we win, we have to do something different. We knew that the Indy 500 winner drank milk, and we weren't going to do anything like that, and nothing had really been done in the two first years of it. And so, we started talking about opportunities as to what we were going to do. And so this finally, we're getting close to 1 o'clock, and Todd's got to get up to get the car through inspection at Michigan. And this was Saturday night before the race at Michigan. And we said we finally settled in, and I will give Todd credit that he said, look, we have to do something around the yard of bricks. And so that's kind of where we left it that particular night. We said, look, we've got to get some rest here, and we're going to leave it at that. So our discussions continued in the weeks to come, and we settled in on the yard of bricks. We were going to do something there, and so we both kind of had an idea that we have to do something special here, and we literally, this was almost simultaneously that as we're looking at each other when we finally made our decision, it was like, I don't know that the words came out completely together, but it was that we were going to kiss the bricks, and that's what we decided on. And again, we didn't tell anyone, so this is just it was totally, we had talked about a number of different things as to what we were going to do at the bricks, and how we might celebrate this opportunity. But I think we settled on the right thing, fortunately.
What a great what a great story. I wish you would have went to me first, because I feel like now it's like going after Dale Jr. at driver intros.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard to top that. And I would also say that for every winner since then that has carried on the tradition is thankful that he and Todd didn't get together and say we should streak.
Yeah,
because that wouldn't have been as popular. I don't think. No.
It has to make you feel special, though, Dale, to see that tradition still live on and even be adopted by other series too.
Yeah, it's just incredible to think that every winner since that point, no matter where they raced, if it was on the oval or if it happened to be the road course, they'd gone to the yard of bricks, and it's a very well orchestrated deal now. But to see, it's just incredible to think back, because all we wanted to do was celebrate our opportunity to race there and celebrate what Indianapolis Motor Speedway is, and that's the greatest oval and racing facility in the world, and it's the most well-known. And just for us in stock cars and NASCAR racing to be able to go there to give everyone something now, something to kind of shoot for and look forward to. Yeah, you want the trophy, that's something you'll always have, but there's nothing like those pictures that you get from kissing the bricks. And something else, and I don't know if they still do this tradition, but at that time I know one of the great things too was, so Todd Parrott and myself, they would take you around the track after everything was done. So it was in a convertible, and I think it was a Camaro that was the pace car at that time. Matter of fact, I know it was because I had the two that from when I won. And so they took us around, and our wives went with us, and it seemed like there hadn't a fan left, especially in '96. This place was still so packed, and you just hear everyone cheering. I'm sure there were some booing, but you could hear the ones cheering much louder. So that was great. And it's just an incredible feeling to go around there 2.5 miles at a slow rate of speed, just taking everything in. And it was just an incredible place to be. And 99 was completely different to me. I was in the battle for a championship, and I did know that, that was a race that it seemed like champions of our sport had won in the same year a couple of times that they went on to win championships. And so we were in that position in 99.
Dale, we know you got to get on a plane, get out there pretty quickly, so we'll let you go. Thanks for joining us today. It's time to follow up with your 2010 winning story.
Yeah, so I want to back up to 2003, which would be my first year there. We had done a test, and at the test had the best car. Came back for the race and had what I would consider the dominant car in 2003, leading with I don't know, maybe 20 laps to go. And at that time, and Dale just referenced this, there was a caution that came out, and the lap down cars lined up on the inside, which wasn't a big deal, but the tail end of the lead lap cars, for some reason, would line up in front of the leaders on the outside row. And so I lined up, I think I was the leader at the time, lined up third or fourth. And I believe it was Dave Blaney in front of me, didn't get a good restart. I got stacked up, and Harvick and Matt Kenseth ended up getting by me. I was able to chase Matt down, not able to pass him, and I finished third that year, and Harvick went on to win. Every year after that, you come really close to winning. You get back to Indy, and you not that you feel like a track owes you a win, but you're like, man, we were really close, and knowing how big of a race that is, and also driving for Ganassi, as I mentioned, it was really important to our team, to be able to win there. Fast forward ahead to 2010. It's my first year back with Ganassi. Montoya is my teammate, and I think the 2 previous years he maybe had sat on the pole and had the dominant car, and whether it was issues in the race or I don't remember what the circumstances were, he wasn't able to win. We get to 2010, and Montoya's on the pole. I qualified 4th that day, and what I remember about the weekend or about the race is, I don't know, there's maybe 20 laps to go in the race, 30 laps to go. I was running 3rd or 4th. Montoya's leading, and I'm like, if we don't get a caution, like he's going to win this race. And there's kind of mixed emotions going through your head, because I'd won the Daytona 500 earlier that year, but I really wanted to win at Indy, and selfishly, I wanted to win here. I didn't want my teammate to win this race. I wanted to be the guy to give that to Chip Ganassi. A caution comes out, and we made a decision coming down pit road to put 2 tires on. Montoya put 4 tires on, and it got me out front. And that was ultimately the decision that was able to win me the race. But in those closing laps, Kevin Harvick, who had won the 2003 race, passed me. And I remember thinking, I can't believe the same guy is going to take this race away from me twice. Fortunately, a caution came out, and I was able to beat Kevin on a restart and get a win. And for me, when I think back to Indy, it's such a big track, and Dale referenced riding around the track in this convertible car and going slow. But even in a race car at a high speed, the straightaways are really long. And I have very few memories that I can still see in my head. But the memory of coming off of turn 2 after I'd taken the white flag, and you have this mile-long straightaway, I remember I had enough of a gap that I'm like, I don't even have to try very hard. I'm like, I'm going to win at Indy, and I'm like, I want to savor like every second of this. And I remember like looking on both sides of the track and seeing the fans and just kind of taking everything in. And then the moment of coming off turn 4, and the guy waving the checkered flag was already waving it. Like as soon as I came off turn 4, I could see that. And it was just such a surreal moment, to be able to win there and to get to just, as a kid, I always wanted to race in NASCAR, and it was always the Daytona 500. But once Indy became one of those races, and I hope that Dale and I have been able to express to everyone listening how important that race is, and all of the testing that went into it. And he talked about taking 3 cars there. Everybody did that. Everybody, you only had so many tests a year you could use. Every team went to Indy because of how important it was. And every team built special cars for Indy because of how important it was. And so to be able to win that, it's one of my favorite racing memories ever. And of any photo that I've ever had taken in racing, for me, it's kneeling down in front of the bricks. And that's a special photo because of the track it's at. But for our family, it was also special because my wife Christy was pregnant with our son, and when I say pregnant, she was really pregnant, and so we have this incredible picture in our house of our son Carter, in her belly, and it was just like I still look back at that and I'm like, it's just one of my favorite memories ever in racing.